Today we're going to talk about a different type of segment and how it interacts with circles and lengths of segments as a result. So we've talked so far about tangents and we've talked about chords, and so now we're going to talk about secants. These secants are segments that intersect circles twice, and so we have here two secants. And so what we end up with is some of each of the secants is outside of the circle and some of it is inside. And then of course we have the whole length of a secant. And so we have this relationship that exists between these lengths, and that if we take the outside bit of one of the secants and multiply it by the whole length of that secant, it's equal to the outside bit of the other one times the whole length of it. And so this is for maybe like secant 1 and secant 2. So in this example, the outside piece for this first one is here. It's 7. And the whole thing is this outside piece plus the inside. So it's important to note that the whole length is equal to the outside plus the inside. So in this case, 7 plus x. And then for this second one, the outside piece is 8. And the whole thing is 8 plus 13, the outside piece plus the inside piece. It's important that you are adding those two pieces together to get the whole length. So on the right side of our equation here, we can simplify that to be 8 times 21. On the left side, we have 7 times 7 plus x. We cannot add 7 plus x and get 7x. That's the biggest mistake people will make here. Do not do that. So I can do 8 times 21 and get 168. To make my life easier, I'm going to divide both sides by 7 here. And so on the left, I'm left with 7 plus x. On the right, I'm left with 24. I did 168 divided by 7. I'm going to move this 7 over here. It's going to become negative 7. And so I get x equals 24 minus 7, which is 17. So getting it set up, getting this equation here, that's the geometry. The rest of it is just being careful with our algebra and making sure we plug in the correct values and then solve correctly. So it's always good to, every time you do a problem, write the relationship. So we have outside times whole equals outside times whole. And so I'm going to look at this first secant. The outside piece is 4. That's how much of the secant is outside of the circle. The whole thing is my outside plus my inside, 4 plus 2. For my second secant, the outside piece, the piece of that secant that's outside, is 3. The whole thing is that piece outside 3 plus x. And so I'll continue down here. 4 times 4 plus 2, well, 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to do 4 times 6 and get 24. And that's just going to stay 3 times 3 plus x. Remember, I can't put those together. I'm going to divide both sides by 3 and get 8 on the left and 3 plus x left over on the right. I'll move that over here to be a negative 3. And so I get x to be 5. As always, if you get stuck on any of this or wonder how I got a certain value, please do immediately ask for help so that we can clean that up for you. So this is when we have two secants. We've had two tangents, we've had two chords, we've had two secants, and now we have a secant and a tangent. And the relationship that exists is the same that we just did. This is sort of a special case of two secants, is when we have one secant and a tangent. This is a tangent because it touches the circle only once. And so what happens here is the outside piece of a tangent is the whole thing. They are the same, and so we end up plugging that value in twice. So when I have a tangent, I'm going to plug 12 in for the outside length as well as the whole length, because the whole thing is outside. And then for my secant, I do the same thing we just did. So my outside piece is 9. My whole thing is adding the outside plus the inside. And then I can proceed to solve for x. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. I'm going to move that 9 over, and it's going to become negative. So really I have 16 minus 9 over there, and I get my missing piece to be 7. So again, if you're getting stuck in any of this and you need some extra clarification, as always, please do ask one of us for help. I'm going to do one more. We should always write the relationship. The more you write the relationship, the better you remember it. And even if we give you the relationship on a test or something like that, it's always good to have a really good understanding what it is beforehand. When we have a tangent, the outside and the whole are the same, so we're going to end up with 45 times 45. For my secant, that's my outside piece, 27, and the whole thing is my outside plus my inside. Hopefully you're seeing the pattern here. And now I can solve. We're not adding 27 and x. 27 plus x is not 27x. We leave it alone. I'm going to divide both sides by 27. And then I'm going to move that 27 over. It's going to become negative, so I'm going to get 40 or 75 minus 27. And I'm going to get that missing piece is 48. One last time, if you do get stuck on any of the algebra I'm doing, wondering how I go from one step to the next, please do call one of us over for clarification, so that you can move forward confidently. Please do take a minute or two or more, however long you need, to answer these two questions. If you need help, please do ask, and then stay tuned for the answers. So hopefully you got 14 for both of them. Unfortunately, I picked the same problem. It looks different, but they're the same numbers. So you should have the same setup for both problems, and you should get the same answer for both problems. One of them was A, one of them was C. So the answer choice letter was different, but the value is the same. So if you got one or both of them wrong, please do ask for help. If not, you're ready to go on to the practice. As ever, if you get stuck, please do call one of us over, and we'd be glad to help you. Take your time, and good luck.